What's up, people? Hit that like. Thank you, Primrose Russell. Like it right out of the gate. Annoy the maggot in your life by letting him know the show is on the air. That's the best way to do it. You can share it on your socials. You can like it. Just like it. You can write something in the chat. Just a hello. Let everybody know you're there. Let them know you're in whatever source you're on. It tickles the algorithm. Don't be afraid to tickle the algorithm. Be up in just a moment. Yes.
Michigan gave us no tax.
And you know, when you say per capita, it's like per capita relative to what?
Winston Churchill stood on the rooftops and
Action replays in magnified fortune. The kidney has a very special place in the heart.
Euripidia.
Hola.
when you ran out the healthy arms, you ran out of really healthy, they had great arms, but they ran out. It's called sports, it's called baseball in particular.
Oh, let's go. Let's jump right in here. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's Hal Sparks, Mega Worldwide, with the greatest chat room in the history of chat rooms. There you are, you lovely folks. Like, subscribe, share the show, patreon.com/Hal Sparks, all the things I'm supposed to say. And yes, rip Malcolm Jamal Warner. I only, this happened during the morning show. The news broke about this. Apparently he drowned is the story. What a terrible, terrible thing. I wish his family and his loved ones nothing but the best. What a rough thing to deal with, a shock death like that. So, and I will say another thing about Malcolm Jamal Warner and all the other members of the Cosby Show is that they had to not only bear the brunt of of being around Cosby in retrospect, which kind of, I think there's a lot of parallels to the whole Epstein thing that's going around. Like, I don't think that anybody on the Cosby Show, for example, less maybe the execs, I don't know, I doubt it, but let's just say that certainly the rest of the cast isn't on the hook for whatever his behavior was. Anybody any more than cast members on that 70s show are on the hook for Danny Masterson. Now, the ranch, there's a conversation to be had there, but early on, no, right? And one of the things that occurred after Cosby was discovered to be a monster, or outed as a monster after it was a loud secret or a quiet truth that was hidden or whatever for a long time. And by the way, yet another reason to fuck TMZ, fuck OK Magazine, fuck Page 6, because they'll climb up somebody's ass if they're having divorce problems, or some young starlet child star has, body dysmorphia because of how she, came up in the industry. They'll be all up in their ass about that. But they didn't know about Weinstein. They didn't know about Trump. They didn't know about Cosby. Get the fuck out of here. I don't buy it. Fuck you guys. And there's no cleanup that they can do that will make me think any different. I mean, TMZ's been all over this story lately, and it's like, where the fuck were you, dude? But whatever. Anyways, point being is that when he was outed, that show, basically went off the air everywhere. It it was in heavy rotation, which was good for every cast member of that show, every writer on that show, to have the residuals coming in. Sometimes that's the stuff that puts your kids through school, not the active work you're doing, but the big hit show that you counted on to build on things, or the thing that lifts your career up to the next level. And then this asshole becomes, one of the most well-known scumbags on earth, and pulls the rug, not just under him, but everybody else who was involved. It's, because it ain't just you. All shows on television, movies, and the like they're a community effort. They take a lot of work, and I'm one of those people who sits during the credits. The only time I leave during the credits is when my kid has to go to the bathroom. But the rest of the time, you stay to the end. And because there are so many people involved in this that their lives depend on the movie doing well, and that them getting another job and all that kind of stuff. And Malcolm Jamal Warner, amongst the other people on the Cosby Show, dude was a kid when the show was on the air. And this motherfucker was like, Cosby was like, victimizing women in the most horrifying, any of these dudes who like roofie women, like there's a special circle in hell that they should go to after, if discovered in the, in the act, red-handed, perhaps deserve a cinder block to the skull. Perhaps attached to a chain, swung around one's head, and then it's just a personal fantasy that I have a hard time quelling because blech on so many levels. But like the people who, like when these women were like aware but couldn't move, and that's just hideous, just fucking hideous. And his crimes, his terrible behavior not only reflected on him and his career and whatever, never mind the fact, by the way, that even after a lot of the shit was known, he was still making $100K doing stand-up at colleges and theaters around the country and around the world. Jesus Christ. But also, like, the rest of the cast is on the hook. Right? The rest of the cast is on the hook for that shit, and their residuals dry up overnight. How would you recommend the new Superman? Yes, I would. I like the actor playing Superman. I thought it's a little too, like, all things to all people. I think there's a stain that the Watchmen put on this kind of, everything is like, got this kind of nihilistic 90s energy to it, which is totally unnecessary. It's why the Captain America story was so successful throughout the entire Marvel universe, is because they basically stole the Christopher Reeves energy from Superman, and they didn't really have to steal it because DC willingly gave it up. They became all about their villains, and they don't know what the fuck to do with a hero anymore. And I don't know why, because it ain't hard. It's not hard, people. It isn't. The struggle to be good and do good and to keep doing that good is not hard. And the villains that are out there are bad enough that you don't have to go, it's like, all right, I'll give you a great example. A perfect example of a tortured hero, Luther. I love the show Luther. Idris Elba is fantastic in it. Great show, all right? And he's got anger management issues and relationship issues because of his job and what he experiences. Very realistic to the job he has, right? That fit very well. But if you look at the rest of the British slate of detectives, they're all fucking drunks, or they have substance abuse issues mixed with, personal abuse issues, and all. Like, it's layer after layer, and like, get the fuck over yourself. It is hard enough just to solve these crimes. I know you guys want them to have depth or whatever, but the depth can come from someplace other than this ham-handed, limp bullshit of I'm just an alcoholic, right? That they just give that like it's a fucking, it's so low rung. It's so, and it spits in the face of people who are actually alcoholics who are struggling to do that. It's such a lame, like, hey, let's have this great character and all the shit he's dealing with. Let's just throw in this extra thing, right? Like, get over yourself. Like, it aggravates the shit out of me. Like, it's so weak-kneed. Thank you for that, CSL. Whatever you added, I will look right now. It's just, oh yeah, the drawings. Right, the Trump doesn't draw pictures. What an asshole. Oh, it's worse, by the way. Let me just tell you this. It's worse. It's worse than he drew some fucking pubic hair and wrote Donald on a body picture of a dude. It's worse. You want to know how it's worse? Let me show you how it's worse. Let me show you how fucking worse. This is, I don't know if you've seen this clip. It started making the rounds. I don't know why this wasn't the first fucking thing that came out. It's amazing how long it takes people to dig this shit up. But check this out. This is Trump on Howard Stern. And, well, here, let's see.
Thing about being Donald Trump right now.
Well, other than the fact I'm married, okay?
Right.
And I'm very happily married. I have a great wife. But if I weren't married, I'd be able to get all of the girls I want, except for possibly Rob.
Girls, hang on to that thought. Not women. All the women I want. I can have any woman I want. I used to have a joke in high school, in my early stand-up, was that I can have any woman I want. And everybody go, oh, yeah? And I'm like, because I don't want a woman that doesn't want me. It's a linguistic trick, but it's true. I have no interest in a woman that isn't interested in me. It doesn't make any sense to me. Right? But I would always say woman. Even when I was in fucking high school, I would say woman. Because I was thinking adult who can make her own decisions. Check this out, though. Girl, says girl, and watch this.
Do you think you could now be banging 24-year-olds?
Oh, absolutely. I have no trouble.
Would you do it?
I have no problem.
Yeah, do you have an age limit, or would you...
No, I have no age. I mean, I have an age. I don't want to be
the
like
upper bracket, yeah.
Foley with, 12-year-olds.
Can I make a prediction?
I don't want to be fooling with 12-year-olds. 12. It's interesting that that's the number, considering that Katie was 13, 14 years old. A lot of the Epstein girls were 13, 14. That was specifically the age he would go for. 12 would be the, sort of the prepubescent. He meant girls. Let me play that for you again.
I have no problem.
Yeah, do you have an age limit, or would you...
No, I have no age. I mean, I have an age.
I have an age limit.
I don't want to be
the
like
upper bracket, yeah.
Foley with 12-year-olds.
Can I make a...
Yeah, that's how bad it is. Hey, maggots, come get your boy. Come get your boy. What the ever-loving shit. Yeah. It's one of those things where, this is what I've been saying. Everybody's like, would he really give up half of MAGA to protect, the elites, or protect, is that, because that was what Beck was selling. No, motherfucker, no. Here's what the reason he's not telling the truth about this is not to protect those people. He's not sacrificing MAGA to protect the fucking Mossad or his handlers or some shit like that. It's because if they saw what he really did, it's worse. No matter how bad the damage is to MAGA, lying to them, pulling them along by a hook in their nose, it doesn't matter. No matter how bad it's seen as shitting the bed, no matter how terrible, if they saw the reality, what's really in there, what he really did, it's worse. That's why. That's why that's why he'll push back on this and lie about it, and the lies will keep coming, and he will never roll it back and go, well, it was a mistake for me to be friends with Jeff and blah, 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 and I was under the impression, and try to dive into it and work his way around it, because he knows how awful it is. And any ground he gives at all is just another reason to look, an inch further into it. That's why. It has nothing to do with there's no dead bodies and nothing. It's just as bad as it is bad enough. That's why. And he knows it. And he fucking bragged about it back in the day. And none of these maggot assholes cared. Maggots, fuck is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Again, this is my point. You have to have Trump derangement syndrome to like the guy. You have to be deranged to think that Donald Trump, wingman of Jeffrey Epstein, who said his age floor is 12 years old. That guy. Oh, Trump is Diddy? Oh, we'll get to that in a second, too. Because there was an article that came out that Trump, like, it said if Puff Daddy, because that's when they were still calling him that, if Puff Daddy wants to have a party, I'm the guy he calls. Him and Russell Simmons. I think he was like, if Puff Daddy and Russell Simmons, I'm great with the blacks. And if Russell Simmons or Puff Daddy want to have a party, I'm the guy they call. Because if they want to do a sketchy fucking party in New York, he will provide the space for it. The Plaza Hotel. Fucking, Compromat Central. Ugh. Just so fucking gross. So, again, 12. Now, before we jump into our sort of regular feed of the panic attack around this stuff, I do want to address one other thing. See if I can find this right away. Where'd you guys go? Where is it? Where'd it go? Where's it? Oh, shit. Did she go away? Hold on. Oh, no, there it is. Okay. So, one of the distractions. What's the big, monkey wrench they're trying to throw in this whole thing to try and go, actually, it's about that Trump, in his bitching about lawfare, is suddenly going to arrest Obama. So he puts out this ridiculous video of Obama getting arrested in the White House and stupid shit like that. And it's all about this thing that Tulsi Gabbard brings out, her fucking infographic bullshit that she puts out that, there's a real crime here or whatever. Okay, let me tell you something. It's a dud. The whole thing's a fucking dud. It doesn't make sense. It's absurd. The idea that beforehand they were talking about, the intelligence community was making the point that Russia didn't hack into machines and change any votes, at least to a level that would have affected the election, which is true. They tried and failed, but they did interfere in the election by creating fake Facebook groups for both candidates, both for and against, to try and run things against it. And they were trying to get Trump elected, right? So that's just, both of those things can be parallel and true. The Russians tried to interfere in our election, but they didn't do it in a material voting sense. And the idea that the Obama administration, after the election, putting out this thing like they tried to interfere in the election, which is patently obvious, very true, across the board, is just this is, you could tell that Trump just called up and said, take a bite out of Obama if you did. It's so fucking stupid. Anyways, you want to know how stupid it is? You want to know how weak it is? Even Tulsi Gabbard's explosive claims. Let's take a look at Megyn Kelly's panel dealing with this. And this is what Tulsi Gabbard really has uncovered related to Russiagate with Halperin, Lauren, and Turrentine. And what's this guy, the bastard son of Leon deGrance of Camel Yard or whatever in Excalibur, the guy who wore the gold mask, who was the incest child? I don't know. Just, this is a resemblance. Anyways, so here's them taking this on. And this is, remember, these people are on his side. They're on Trump's side. Mordred, thank you. Yes.
I want to talk about Trump because there's been a very interesting development now.
Interesting.
Within the intel community around Trump. Tulsi Gabbard late on Friday, and I just want to say, as on all things, I am a truly honest broker on this. I'm still trying to figure out what's real. I don't know.
Like who she is accusing of what, for instance?
No.
Ouch. I saw, she even made an infographic and I still don't know what the fuck she's talking about.
Whether she's right and Matt Taibbi, who I love, is right, that this is a bombshell and it's...
Oh, Matt Taibbi agrees with her, then nah, it's fucked from the start. It's dumb. Mr. Censorship Industrial Complex, who was tweeting about his tweets that weren't read. He was tweeting tweets about his tweets that were censored, that included the tweets, that top tweet. He quote tweets his own tweets that weren't allowed to be tweeted.
Terrible, and people really could go to jail. Or whether Andy McCarthy at National Review, who I love and respect, and who's totally honest broker too, is correct, that this is a complete nothing burger and she's totally off and apparently hasn't read her own CIA director's release of last
That seems pretty clear.
week. And that he would suggest she hasn't really been following the Russiagate scandal because everything she just told us is old.
Hey, asshole. Following it, she's in it. She's of it. She is the Russian tool. Let me explain something to you. You could argue that this is, Trump trying to get himself out of the Epstein thing, but understand this. Right after the story came out that Epstein laundered his money through Russian banks, all of a sudden Tulsi Gabbard is putting out an infographic that says that Russia was innocent in this situation and Obama lied, making it look like Russia was involved in the 2016 election. You think this is entirely about just Trump covering his ass? This is Tulsi covering for Putin in the face of the story coming out that Epstein laundered 4,725 suspicious transaction, $1.5 billion, largely through Russian banks, right about the time he was going to, do himself in.
And so I'm really trying to figure out, but just to set it up for the audience, because it's very complex.
No, it isn't. It's stupid.
On Friday night, Tulsi Gabbard went on Fox News and said that she'd found documents that she was releasing that show, in sum and substance, that one day the intelligence community under Barack Obama was ready to come out and say that the Russians did not interfere in the 2016 election and really had no part in it, and that whole thing was kind of bullshit.
Okay, how many people think that even in this situation, Megyn Kelly is going to come to the conclusion that what Tulsi is talking about is true or right?
Then Barack Obama pulled them all into the White House. They had a big meeting. And then literally the next day, they were like, Russia interfered to help Trump, and leaked it to all the reporters, Washington Post. And the suggestion is that Obama turned to them and said, I'm not having a report coming out of you guys saying that they didn't interfere. Our whole narrative is that Hillary would have won had it not been for the Russians. Now, give me a report that says that. That's the implication. And that then the intel community did it, and the subservient Washington press corps ran with it. And that's how the narrative really took off, that
however
the Russians had gotten Trump elected.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so Andy McCarthy's point in response is, okay, you're talking apples and oranges. What they said prior to the Obama meeting was, we've seen nothing to suggest the Russians hacked election machines, even though they tried in a couple of places. But that they were not able to do anything technologically that would have altered the outcome of an election with raw vote.
Which is materially true.
Then they have the Obama meeting, and then they come out, and it's true that their report that they issued then was all about the ways Russia did interfere, like fake articles about Hillary, bots that circulated negative news about her, and they hacked the DNC mail.
Sorry, wait, one second.
Which is how we have a lot of the admissions we have from her and her terrible family.
Sorry. They also hacked the RNC and didn't release what they got from there. So they still have it. They still have all the stuff from the RNC hack, I guess, dangling over Trump's fucking head, or Lindsey Graham's fucking head, I guess, which is probably why he wants them nuked into oblivion, so that, perhaps he thinks Putin has all the information that he hacked from the RNC on a thumb drive stuck up his ass for safekeeping all the time. And then if you get him, you get it too.
Anyway, he's saying it's apples to oranges. And while
it is,
she is producing now emails that do show they were ready to say no interference when it comes to election machines prior.
Which they still did. They did say that. They said that too. Also, you fucking twit.
We kind of knew everything that she's saying already. I'm going to show you her announcement. I think we have it, guys, don't we? On Friday night. Yeah, Sat 9. Let's play it.
Spells out in great detail.
I'm sorry. She makes me laugh right now because everything she does is this like weird, morose sort of like dinner theater bullshit, performance art. Like her nuclear video. Like, we are so close to a dark end.
Exactly what happens when you have some of the most powerful people in our country directly leading at the helm, President
Bullshit.
Obama and his senior-most national security cabinet,
By the way, everyone on the right is now calling her skunkhead. Just saying. Like, the maggots are calling her skunkhead. Which is, I'm sure they were, don't trust her necessarily because of that. Yeah, Timu Rogue, right. They call her skunkhead, which I think is funny, because it's their side. Us making fun of her, of course. But when they turn on her, then you go.
James Comey, John Brennan, James Clapper, and Susan Rice and others, essentially making a very...
Essentially? That feels like a softener.
Intentional decision.
Basically.
To create this manufactured, politicized piece of intelligence with the objective of subverting the will of the American people. The list goes on and on about the consequences of President Obama and his senior cabinet members politicizing intelligence once again. And I
gulp.
Say these words very clearly, to enact what was essentially a years-long coup, subverting the will of the American people.
A years-long unsuccessful coup, where the dude actually did his whole term and then was even able to be reelected. Yes, such a coup.
People.
One of the other points Andy made was that he's not a fan of Tulsi. He wasn't behind her confirmation. But he's also saying it's...
Well, everyone has sane moments, I suppose.
Not a surprise to him that Tulsi Gabbard would try to exonerate Russia entirely and instead blame America, right? Like sort of say Russia didn't do anything whatsoever. And his point is she's overstating it. Russia did do some things, but it didn't cost Hillary the election. Andy doesn't contend that. But that we're now sort of manufacturing something for press clicks and possibly indictments.
Why would you need press clicks right now, though? What would be the reasoning behind? Why would you? What? Where? Why? Why would you need press clicks to draw attention, draw the eye away? Why would you need to do that right now?
That may not be there.
If you're Trump, obviously Epstein. If you're Putin, obviously Epstein.
Anybody want to take this?
I mean, look, I'll say this. I am with you.
I hate to have to say something reasonable and truthful, but
I'm not sure what she's doing, because I think what she's trying to argue is it wasn't determinative to the outcome. But there is no debate Russia tried to influence the election. As you say, they bought ads on YouTube, they bought ads on Facebook, they had chat bots, they hacked email. They wanted Donald Trump to win. Now, the question was, did the Trump campaign...
This is, by the way, can I just tell you something? This is not a clip from MSNBC. This is the Megyn Kelly show. This is the first person who spoke up. Now, let me assume that the other two guests will, bend the bar back the other direction.
Collude. Robert Mueller ruled there was no definitive proof that they colluded. But I'm not sure I almost get the sense that what she's saying is like, they didn't try to interfere in the election. And what's also fact is, the Obama administration, the last month of the campaign, was
fact. This is fact.
Aware of what was going on and struggled. Do they go public with this? Do they put it out? If we do, it's going to look like we're trying to tip the scales. After the election, they huddled and said, we need to get out, both as like a PSA, hey, Russia, you tried to do this and we're aware of it. And then they said, was there collusion? Was there perhaps something more there?
Yes, there was. Yes, there fucking was. And if Bill Barr hadn't stopped Mueller from looking into the finances behind it, we'd have had a full case. But since you need means, motive, and opportunity, the motive being financial, if you're not allowed to look into the finances of the main suspect, then you can't produce a case, and you can't say definitively that you have a case, you dumb sons of bitches. All right, anyways, I'm fine. I'm all right. I'm gonna be okay.
I think that latter part they wanted to put out into the kind of, mainstream to
Son of a bitch. Thank you, Tom.
be like, someone needs to go look at this, right? And obviously that enraged Trump, and he didn't want, he wanted everyone to know that he did this. But I'm not sure what she's implying. If there's real signs of crime or malfeasance, then goodness, put it out and let the public see it. But
Sure, goodness me. Well, absolutely.
I'm very skeptical.
I don't. Have you looked at this? I mean, it's very smart people who I normally trust are in diametric disagreement on it.
If she sees a crime, she's got to say who and what law they broke. It's just too vague.
Sorry, I'm fine. This is the Megyn Kelly show. Like, this sounds like a panel on MSNBC because it's so reality-based. It's insane. It's almost like Epstein was some sort of odd reset button.
I'll pick up on a point Dan made, which I know because I did a lot of reporting on this. They really did struggle with what to say. They didn't want to let the Russians go uncalled out in public, but they also didn't want to be accused of trying to make it seem like the Russians were doing something. They were protecting.
I don't know anything about that dude right there. That guy right there. Except that he creeps me the fuck out. That if you saw him on, I don't know. If you saw him lurking at Mar-a-Lago, you'd be like, eek. Also, he spends most of his time rolling a booger during this interview.
Pretending the Russians were doing something to help Hillary. I actually think there's 19 things you could list that say cost Hillary Clinton the election, and this is one of them. It was very close. You don't know what would have happened otherwise, but I think Russia helped Trump win substantially.
He's rolling a booger, I swear. Sorry.
Not through collusion, but because they wanted Trump to win. And that is something she's playing down. What she's playing up is that they somehow broke the law in trying to protect Hillary Clinton. And again, I just
She's
don't see the
suggesting they
specifics.
manufactured it. She's basically suggesting this is the same thing as
Basically, you do realize when you're saying things like essentially and basically in a legal situation, you're kind of fucked.
COVID, where the scientists went from, this looks like it came from a lab. We've never seen such a virus from an animal. And then after Fauci and Collins browbeated them, they came out and they were like, it's definitely not from a lab. It's from a pangolin.
There are people associated with Barack Obama who leaned into collusion without.
Also, real quick, on a side note, point of order, Mr. Chairman. How can you have a plandemic that's fake, that's just there so you can pretend there's a disease so that you can vaccinate people against their will by putting a chip in them or some shit, on the one hand. And on the other hand, have actual gain-of-function caused pathogens leaking out into the thing. Like, it's either a real disease or it ain't. And if it's a real disease, no matter how it came, a vaccine is the way you fucking solve it. Right? If it's really dangerous and it was lab leaked and all that kind of stuff and holy fuck, then the government should do everything it fucking can to keep you from dying from it or getting infected with it and passing it on as best they can with whatever information they actually have. Right? If it was made in a lab and that's the case you're making, then the whole thing about the vaccines were fake and it was being forced on us and it's about government control is fucking bullshit. What the hell? All right, I'm fine. I'm going to be just fine. It's just...
Motion detected. Take precautions.
Thank you again, Jet, for that.
The doubt. And that wrong. I don't know if it's against the law. It was dirty pool. But mostly what they said was the Russians interfered with the election, and they did.
I think this is well, so far it's Tulsi Gabbard 0, Megyn Kelly panel 3.
A little bit of cosmic karma, everything comes full circle because Tulsi was accused by Hillary Clinton and the Obamas, I believe, of being like a Russian asset. And then she went on The View and said she's owned by Russia, she's a Russian puppet. And Tulsi was coming out saying, I'm nobody's puppet, I've served this country, I'm a woman in uniform, as she is, and she's a rock star. But yeah, no, I think
Good Lord.
This is a little bit of cosmic karma. She gets to now come out and say, ha, look at what we've just uncovered in these files. But I think it's Monday. Maybe by the end of the day, we'll have more information because I read on the way over here, she's now given something to the DOJ or
She said it's going to come out this week. We're going to see leak.
I think it was weird Friday night to make the announcement with everything going on.
I know. Why?
Yeah, that's so weird. Isn't that weird? That's weird. It seems weird.
Why? They put out news that's bad for them heading into a weekend after a holiday.
like-
They put out news that's good for them a Friday night.
Hannity will be here
It's weird. It's almost like it's not actually good news.
Monday, so I don't know. I have to go on tonight.
That might have been an Epstein circuit.
I was just
breaker.
going to say.
Maybe.
yes.
I'm not.
What was that? What was that again, Mark Halpern? What was that again? It might have been a what?
That might have been an Epstein circuit.
I was just
breaker.
going to say.
It might have been an Epstein circuit breaker.
Maybe.
Yes.
I'm not sure that's going to work either.
I don't think. No, it's not. It is not. Excellent point, Megan Smelly. No, it's not going to work. Nobody's buying it. Fuck you. And it's such a dud. It's such a dud. Now, real quick before we move on to the next one, apparently, 2 Live Crew's Luther Campbell called into the Make It Plain show years ago. This is 8 years ago. And this is when it should have mattered. And talked about going to parties with Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago. And this is the dude who wrote, was banned from the radio because his songs were too dirty. If the dude who wrote Me So Horny is like, I got this party is morally below me, you're in trouble.
Shoot, it had to be around 90 something.
In the 90s.
When he first opened up the mansion in West Palm Beach.
So, Uncle Luke, tell us what happened. You went with Eddie Murphy and Mike Tyson. The 3 of you were together?
Yes.
Uh-huh. And Donald Trump invited...
Real quick. One dude is in trouble for sexually assaulting or physically assaulting another woman. That would be Mike Tyson. Luther Campbell was in trouble because he was with 2 Live Crew and they'd written this song and it was considered, sexist and what have you. And Eddie Murphy, I think, had recently just been busted for allegedly picking up a tranny. That was the term at the time. That was the news story. On Santa Monica Boulevard and just giving her a ride home. To his home, I think, or whatever it was. That was the thing, is that he allegedly picked up a young lady on Santa Monica Boulevard that was not indeed a young lady after all. So, yeah, and they're hanging. This is after. This is them hanging. This is not, by the way, this is not Luther. This is the host of Make It Plain. Matza Mela Mufum, Mark Thompson. Yeah, there you go.
It invited you all personally.
Mafumo, Mark Thompson, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
He invited all us. He was having his pageant contest going on, and it was with his pageant contest, he ended up inviting us to the event.
Tell us what happened, Uncle Luke. What happened at that party that made you have to leave?
What happened at the Donald Trump pageant party at Mar-a-Lago in the 90s that made Luke from 2 Live Crew have to leave?
Well, I mean, it was just a lot of things going on. A lot of things that I don't...
Yeah, a lot of things. One of them being underage girls.
That I don't care to engage in. And, he showed us the house, showed us the golf course in the back, all these different things. Said, man, great house, nice house. And I think I probably was there for every bit of maybe 45 minutes before I realized all these different things that was going on. And I was like, okay, it's time for me to go here.
Now you understand, you are Uncle Luke, you 2 Live Crew. So, I mean, we're dying to know what was going on that you couldn't.
Right. If you can't hang with that, what the fuck?
Engage in.
Man, it was just some things that I don't really care to discuss.
Well, you better, because it doesn't make any sense.
Because one thing about me, I don't kiss and tell. But at the same time, the party was going on, and it was a lot of things. Put it this way, there were a lot of things going on. A lot of things.
Nope, not a lot of things. They weren't playing fucking they weren't bobbing for apples. It wasn't the food was too cold and the beer was too hot. Nope. It was something else.
So a lot of things in a lot of different rooms. It was a lot of different rooms.
A lot of things in a lot of different rooms. This is sounding a lot like the kind of shit Cat Williams warned us about.
What was going on in the house, and every time you open up a door, with something else going on that I really didn't care to be a part of.
Okay, first of all, let's just work this out then. Do you think if Luke from Two Live Crew opened the door and was a bunch of adults engaged in sex, he'd be like, I got it, I'm done? Do you think that would have, or if he opened the door and there was a bunch of people watching two people have sex, two adults have sex, right? If it was like a sexual performance, something like that. Or if there were stripping going on or something like that. Do you think that would be like where Luke from Two Live Crew would go, sorry, Mike, sorry, Eddie, I'm out? Do you think that would have been the switch?
So I felt like, hey, look here, man. I'm from Liberty City. At the end of the day, if I wanted to be involved in all those different type of activities, I did that in my hometown. Less long as going to somebody's house where I think they got cameras and everything.
Oh. So Luke smelled a trap.
Be able to take me and before you know it, you're extorting me. That ain't gonna happen. But one thing about me, I ain't never take no drugs and I don't get into drugs. So I leave it like that.
Were there drugs there, Uncle Luke?
It was a lot of things up in there. I know I don't take no drugs. I'm gonna leave it like that.
Did you see Donald Trump use any drugs?
No, I didn't see him use no drugs.
So these rooms. So presumably there were women in these rooms.
Oh yeah, a lot of women.
Mm-hmm. How were they? How were they?
All over the room.
How were they dressed, Uncle Luke?
Half naked.
Half naked.
Half naked and some naked.
Half naked and some naked.
Half naked and some naked.
Right, which is the name of the next Two Live Crew record, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And if it isn't, it should be.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
We had a house party. They up in there naked.
Was there any assaultive behavior toward women at this Donald Trump party?
No.
No assaultive behavior. Okay.
No, all the women were enjoying themselves like they do.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But the thing, let me tell you, the thing is when you're around, I've been around a lot of models and a lot of these pageant women, because that's what mostly it was. It was mostly pageant women.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of these women ain't of age.
Let's back up. What was that again?
It was mostly pageant women.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of these women ain't of age.
And a lot of these women ain't of age.
So when you got a whole bunch of these women running around, whether they of age or not, there's a lot of things going on. You just some women look too young.
Oh,
so you keep it moving.
The women look too young, so you gotta keep moving. Which brings me back to this. Where is it? This.
Prediction for you?
Yes.
I say you have one more marriage in you.
Except for possibly Robin.
Do you think you could now be banging 24-year-olds?
Oh, absolutely. I have no trouble.
Would you do it?
I have no problem.
Yeah, do you have an age limit, or would you?
No, I have no age. I mean, I have an age. I don't want to be
the
like
upper bracket, yeah.
Foley with 12-year-olds.
Can I make a prediction for you?
I don't want to be fooling with 12-year-olds, which is a pretty low fucking bar, to have your standard. So that would be why when Luke, who is apparently no fool, started getting a whiff of this situation and felt like it's time to go, he was right.
So it wasn't nobody beating no women, nobody taking advantage of no women. I mean, they were all enjoying themselves. That's what they were there for. But
for the record, underage girls cannot, quote, not be taken advantage of and not be exploited because they are underage. That's how it goes. It's not a high school party. Fuck you.
Are they old enough to be enjoying themselves? I don't know.
Was there sex?
Of course there was.
I guess that's a stupid question now to ask. Okay, so I think I got you now. You're saying that all this was going on and you weren't clear as to whether these were adults.
I wasn't clear whether or not they were adults, and I wasn't clear whether or not, whether I wanted to be in that kind of environment where some of these other things that was going on in there. I ain't gonna.
Some of these other things, right? So again, that video, which is 8 years old, mixed with the stuff where he was on the show with Howard Stern, which I gotta say is one of the biggest. I'm shocked that didn't come out sooner. Yes, underage girls cannot consent. Exactly, Andrea. That's the point. And if you're an Eastern European girl who's under 18 and who's here on a fucking visa and some asshole has your fucking passport, you definitely can't consent. Because who the fuck knows that you're there? If you never come home, what happens? You think there's somebody checking like, hey, this girl entered the country a little while ago and then she just kind of poof, she's gone. And then they go ask around. Oh yeah, I thought she took a boat to Mexico. I don't know. Ended up in a fucking river or a shallow grave someplace. Like, Jesus. So, now, one of the things I told you, okay, so the word has gone out. The word has gone out to the old guard. It's time to move on. Sell the idea that this is so 5 minutes ago. This is an old story. We need to stop talking about this and start celebrating our wins, kids. Right? That's the story you see going out. And who better to sell that storyline, ladies and gentlemen, than a man who had to pay a woman $32.5 million to keep quiet about the sexual assault that she received from that man himself. Good old Bill O from Fox News. And that's, by the way, that 32 some odd million dollars does not include what Fox had to pay to the same woman and to other women about his behavior while he was there. Mark Halpern, who's on fucking Megyn Kelly's show, booted for the same fucking reason. Although I don't know if it's anywhere near as egregious as what this motherfucker was doing, because again, I still can't figure out what would cost you $33 million to bury. Right? What is it that $10 million didn't buy off? $20 million didn't. $30 million didn't buy some. 33 million was, 33 and that's final. Okay. Please put a link to the video. Oh, yeah, I will. Hold on. Let me, you mean this one? Let's see. Share. Let's see. Copy. There we go. And I'm gonna put that in the chat, kids. That's the short about that's the short about that was on the there we go. Howard Stern show. Little boys. No, it was a woman. It was an adult woman who worked at the network. So here's this is the toe the line message. This is this, somebody, we'll see what he says. I haven't watched this. I don't pre-watch this, so.
Hey, Bill O'Reilly here with another YouTube bonus. Love that.
No, don't love that. Gross. If we have to hear from you at all, it's always a bad day.
So we are the United States of conspiracy now.
Fuck you, dude. Now?
And the dopey phone.
The dopey phone, which you have.
Has made this very easy. So everybody who wants attention can put out some crazy conspiracy thing and people will read it.
Oh, you mean like Tulsi Gabbard's bullshit infographic?
Some people will believe it.
Yeah, especially the women who were assaulted and the men who engaged in it.
Evidence, people believe what they want to believe.
They have to, motherfucker, because Trump is hiding the evidence. You could dump all this shit, right? That'd put it to bed, except it wouldn't.
Now, people like me, professionals.
Jesus Christ. Professional what?
I got to see the evidence. I got to see the hard data.
Bullshit.
I buy into anything.
Sorry. Have you ever seen the Hunter Biden laptop? Ever? Have you ever seen a fucking picture of it? Have you ever seen anything except a copy of a copy of a copy of a hard drive that was labeled laptop? Shut the fuck up.
But, you know, I got a master's degree in broadcast journalism, so I'm trained to
a lot of good it did you
do this.
And you're still on the same platform I am. And I won the funniest teenager in Chicago contest when I was 17.
My pen is a lethal weapon.
All right. Oh, all right. Okay. Now this is just getting.
Dum 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 stupid, dumb silly stupid dum dum.
But most people, they just believe what they want to believe because it's fun. Conspiracies can be fun.
I agree. Unless it's two men, say, conspiring to have sex with underage women and then hide that from the public for decades. That's not, I wouldn't say that's fun. I mean, they might consider it fun at the time, but when I get them alone and it's me and them and a potato peeler, it's not gonna be fun.
And maybe fun's a bad word, but they're
Yeah, fun's a very bad word. Especially, hey, how about that old Sandy Hook parents were pretending they had kids, you dumb motherfucker. Fuck, I hate this dude.
They get people out of the boredom.
What? Get the fuck out of here. You don't have to be bored to give a shit about this, you lazy bastard.
Citing, or they, you know.
Didn't you hear Trump? It's the Epstein stuff that's boring. Get on the team, dumbass.
Generate a mystery or whatever.
Whatever.
I'm going to give you 4 examples of conspiracies in play that you heard about. You've heard of all of them. And that are dubious.
All conspiracy theories are dubious by nature and have seeds of truth in them by nature, whether they turn out to be true or not. That's what makes them even in the realm of conspiracy theory. Like, that's literally the basis for why they are conspiracy theories as opposed to just theories.
Okay, that fair? Dubious. First,
no.
One is about Epstein. So there's so much garbage floating.
Yeah, really. Yeah, so much garbage about, Trump making Bill Barr his AG and Bill Barr's dad giving Epstein his first fucking job at a girls' school that he wasn't qualified to do, where he wore a fucking fur coat and gold chains and hit on the students and then ended up working for Bear Stearns and bailed out right in time to basically be Les Wexner's fucking money man. And then he started hanging around with Donald Trump in 1985. And then Trump's literally partying with the fucking dude for 2.5 decades.
Around about Epstein.
Yeah, that's fucking Epstein, whatever. I don't even know. What? I don't even know his first name, do you?
Epstein. Heinous criminal.
How do you know? Where's the evidence that he's a heinous criminal? I mean, he never faced trial, and you're a journalist. You have, allegedly, aren't you supposed to say allegedly because you have a master's in fucking, I could say he's a fucking scumbag, but you.
Planning much better off that he's not here. I wrote about him on BillO'Reilly.com. You might want to check that out because.
Did you draw the outline of a big titty woman and then sign your name where her bush would be? You fucking creep.
This guy, he transcends most criminal cases, and it's being used. His situation being used.
It is being used almost as much as your creepy fucking pinky finger that just seems to have a mind of its own. Jesus, what is happening there? Alien hands.
It's interesting. Anyway, there's all kinds of stuff floating around about it.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff floating around in binders handed out by Pam Bondi, flight logs, love notes from Donald Trump, fucking pictures from them partying together.
Roll tape.
How does a guy go from being a math teacher at the Dalton School in the late 70s with no college degree to having multiple airplanes, a private island, and the largest residential house in Manhattan?
What a country. America only here, man.
Where did all the money come from?
From the Les Wexner and all the people that he helped cheat on their taxes. By the way, Tucker wants you to think the Jews paid for him. Just saying. And just so that you don't look at the fact that he was hanging around with, sketchy money from Russia, sketchy money from, pervs here in the United States and overseas.
And no one has ever gotten to the bottom of that because no...
Yeah, they have. You got power of attorney from the dude who owns Victoria's Secret, you dumb motherfucker. The dude, a guy who had basically 2 sex trafficking rings because he owned Abercrombie and Fitch too, and the head of that company was doing the male side of things. So fucking the Victoria's Secret guy had Jeffrey Epstein running the girls, and he had the Abercrombie and Fitch guy running the boys, so they could have control across the spectrum. They were inclusive. That's what I like.
No one has ever tried. And
also, what the fuck are you talking about? Of course they've tried, dumbass.
Moreover, it's extremely obvious to anyone who watches that this guy had direct connections to a foreign government. Now, no one's allowed to say that that foreign government is Israel because we have been somehow cowed into thinking that that's naughty.
Okay. So what Bill's trying to do is, I understand the play here. He's trying to make it so that the anti-Semitic, it must be the Jews thing from Tucker Carlson, which also runs interference for the Russians, who also fed money through that whole thing. Both were splitting it through, Arab organizations and the PLO and stuff, and right-wing organizations within the Israeli government to keep this fight going on, because if oil prices are high, it's good for them. Right, so they need volatility in the Middle East, so they play both sides in this. And so Epstein, right before all this Mossad shit because of Maxwell may be a thing. It might. However, in the final days of his life, when it really fucking mattered, he transferred his money around through Russian banks, not through Israeli banks. He fled to Israel, but then he came back. And the idea that you could just go and flee to Israel and they won't send you anywhere if you're going to be tried someplace, that even Israel was like, no, you can fuck off now. So it doesn't play to that they were protecting him. If he belonged to intelligence, then again, it was either a myth or it was a reality, and they were using him as an asset. But at the end of his life, that was early. That was when he was first arrested. By the time Trump had him snuffed in jail, if that's indeed what happened, he was playing footsie with Russia and running his money through there.
Okay, so in 1976, Epstein went from being a teacher.
Is this Newsman? Is this how you do Newsman now? Is this what Newsman looks like?
Into finance, and he hooked up with some New York City people, and he emerged as a manager of money, like Bernie Madoff. Okay?
Yeah, very close. A lot of similarities.
And same thing.
Oh, and Charles Kushner.
So he got some clients. They gave him money. He invested. He got a piece of what he made for that.
Yeah, you missed the whole thing where he was responsible for Bear Stearns almost going under and then running off after it happened and taking some clients with him.
And he built himself up. He was fairly successful in that business, and he accumulated a lot of money. All right, so that's number one. That's how.
He didn't get it from Israel. He got it from a bunch of rich fucks. But also, he was gifted his fucking properties by and large.
He got wealthy. Number two, he hung around with some
Donald Trump. You weren't going to say Donald Trump? I was going to say Donald Trump. He hung around with Donald Trump a lot.
Israeli government people. All right, I don't know to what extent, but they were on his manifest, on his plane rides and stuff like that.
Ehud Barak is what he means, the former president of Israel, who was later, a part of Israeli intelligence and that kind of stuff, and slept on his fucking couch and shit like that. All right. Anyways, go ahead.
But
I mean, it's not like, I don't know who the guy. I don't know if he was. I don't know what.
What good a guy like Jeffrey Epstein could do Mossad remains. I can't see a guy like that. He's not anywhere near the Middle East.
What? Sorry, you think this has to do with geography, you dumb motherfucker? How about he had control over high-ranking officials and had he was close to a lot of big dollar donors who could either manipulate actively or passively through money the behavior of politicians and power brokers in the United States on behalf of that country. Doesn't mean he did, but it's not hard to figure out.
He's in the U.S. Virgin Islands in New York City and Palm Beach.
Yes, and there are no Jews in any of those places. What the fuck?
What?
And Donald Trump was only always, a 9-minute cab ride from his house.
I don't know.
Okay, then say that at the front and then shut the fuck up.
Now, I'm open to anything, but
that's a little creepy.
I got to see some data here. All right, so he's associated with Israel in some official capacity that he's...
No, he would. This is the difference between agent and asset that people play fast and loose with. The Jan Sixers muck this whole shit up, and there's a difference between an agent who is actively hired by a country or works in an organization and is an official representative of that, and an asset, which is somebody that is rolled or played or cajoled or bribed or paid for information or access or whatever. That would be the asset. So he would more than likely be an asset, and intelligence agencies, their entire job is converting people to assets. Like, go fucking watch The Recruit. Honest to God, it's like, can you just is there a national intelligence for dummies?
A spy or something?
No, an asset.
Well, give me something.
Jesus Christ. Okay, how about this?
Not the fact that he hung around with a couple of Israeli big shots.
Ehud Barak, Israeli big shot. Okay.
Not enough. And on the finance stuff, that's an easy trace. You just Google Jeffrey Epstein. How did Jeffrey Epstein make his money? Boom. That's all you got to do. And then it'll come up. You see it.
Yeah, because Google and AI and Bill's basically AIing his show now.
So when I hear this stuff, I go, wait, it doesn't come together.
It doesn't have to, you dumb motherfucker. It's a red herring. It's a fucking distraction. You'd rather be talking about this and fucking Tucker Carlson's bizarre anti-Semitism than the fact that your buddy, Donald Trump, who you were going to go on fucking tour with, was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein and Roy fucking Cohn, you tit.
But again, people believe what they want to believe. All right, second.
No, they don't. They believe what they think is real based on the preponderance of evidence until there is significant reasons to believe otherwise, considering the volume of guilt and the history of Donald Trump.
Second one. This is a woman serving in Congress,
Thank you,
Anna
Helen.
Paulina Luna from Florida.
Anna Paulina Luna is a thing to say on a bright Hawaiian Christmas. Bonky donk donk donk.
And here's what she said on News Nation. Go.
I've been told that the KGB had actually observed Oswald in Russia when he was there as a citizen.
Real quick, have you also been told, and this might be a shocker, have you also been told, perhaps you don't know this, I'm throwing it out there, just going to lay it on the table, you do with it what you will, that Chris Cuomo's wife is in the Epstein Black Book? Have you been told that as well? Anna Paulina Luna, you big dipshit. Did you know that? You know that? That's the case. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Chris Cuomo's wife is in the Epstein Black Book. Remember the Epstein Black Book that was found? Hold on, let me see if I can find this. Give me 1 second. I know this is in here, so hold on. Let's see. Donald Trump, Lou, joke, gross. Here we go. This is it. Here you go. Hold on. All right. So Business Insider bought the Epstein, the rights to look at the Epstein book. Right? The second, this dude has it in his house, which, by the way, is the creepiest. I need to film a horror film in this house stat. Like, this looks like an AI fuck up. This house is amazing. And this is the house where the guy who bought the Epstein Black Book on eBay lives. This dude. And he went through it, and there's Donald Trump. And this is the lady that found it, and she found it on the street, and she walks them through it, and she found it, and she explains how she found it, and she needed new brakes in her car, and who gives a shit? And so she sold it on eBay, and that dude bought it, and then they started going through, like, who's in there? And they start calling people. And some of the people, let's see if they can find this.
Of his crimes was the publication in 2015 of an address book belonging to Jeffrey.
This is the earlier one. So, or the later one, sorry. The one that was published was his 2000s one. And there was a 3-seat outhouse, because community. So the one they found was earlier, it was 96.
Epstein. And what was stunning about it was it contained the names of Donald Trump and Mick Jagger, Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton. And it sort of woke people up to the fact that this was a guy who had access to the halls of power.
Right. And then you look at the earlier one. That's this
reporting
one.
Other addresses.
They go through this.
The names, and then we just started calling people in the book.
If they could find the
Epstein.
She was
Had ever
Carl here you go.
associated with Epstein before?
Suzanne Urcha, Melania Trump's best friend. She later married Woody Johnson, who now owns the New York Jets.
Carl Icahn, special advisor to Donald Trump during his
Weird, huh?
presidency.
Christina Grieven, the wife of Christopher Cuomo.
Presidency.
Christina Grieven, the wife of Christopher Cuomo.
Yeah. It's almost like this motherfucker placed women, in positions of power, right? Yeah. Holy shit.
And he was actually not a good shot. This is not also the only piece of information that we have. We actually have multiple witnesses that stated to the Warren Commission and different investigators.
Boring as this blows.
That Lee Harvey.
Yeah, we know. This is all new. Condescending face after condescending face after condescending face after condescending face. It's a condescending face, and we're condescending face, and we're condescending, and we're condescending. Don't forget to be condescending, and we're condescending face, and we're condescending face, because instead of answering questions, we could just give you the condescending face and the condescending face. What an asshole. All right, so. You get the point that the whole story is, ignore this. It's nothing. Hal, do you think Elon has the files that he's threatening to release? Yes, I do. I do. I've lost the plot. How have I lost the plot? We're not even anywhere near the plot. Now, remember when I mentioned that there's a storyline going around that Epstein's not dead, okay? Well, guess where Peanut Butter Dickhead and that crowd have gone all of a sudden? Jeffrey Epstein is alive. Charleston White exposes Epstein's fake death and deep state cover-up. Hang in there, kids. Here we go. Because Rusty Trombone also believes this, sort of.
What do you think about Epstein?
He alive, somewhere hiding. Prior to his death, there was already attempts made upon his life in jail. How is it a coincidence that he...
Also, Vinny is not in the studio, I'd just like to say. Or he would be ejaculating, I think.
Jail, with a suicide, but the autopsy report said his larynx was crushed. You can't do that with suicide.
Larynx. It's not a larynx. People do that all the time.
Motherfucker gotta choke you to do that. Why don't the media do Epstein like they do Diddy? We know everything. We know Diddy like to put cum on his nipples for men.
I didn't need that. I didn't need any of that just now. Like what? He what? We do? Sorry. Maybe I didn't pay as much attention to the Diddy trial as I should have. But excuse you?
Him and Cassie like to suck the cum off. So this.
Why is the camera not on Peanut Butter Dickhead's face right now? Why is Patrick Bet David off camera right now? Why? We do? We know that, do we? Oh, all right. Well, you do realize that if it's consensual, that's fine. I don't give a shit sexually what people do. It's the whole punching her and not letting her leave thing that I found wrong.
This is detail. Why we don't know details about Epstein?
What kind of show have I made today? Like, who booked this motherfucker? Oh, shit. How did I get left alone in this room with this dude? Jesus Christ. What? It gets better.
Where are the children? Where are their stories? Where are their testimonies? Why don't we have open access to Giselle's testimony and her cooperation with the government?
You mean
Ghislaine?
Yeah.
Ghislaine.
Yeah,
You know why? Because most of the people went to the island was politicians and powerful people, princesses of Wales, all them types, the real freaks, the evil people.
Why would you point up and say the evil people?
The evil people who can go to an island and have access to children that nobody knows have been kidnapped in the world. The evil people. Those are our politicians. Those aren't poor people. Those are not people on drugs. Those are not gangbangers that's doing this. Gangbangers hurt their own people. But it's a group.
And dogs occasionally. And also people who are, in the wrong side of town. And also the people they sell drugs to who overdose and die. And so, but sure.
People that take our children and they disappear, and powerful people have access to them. There's a movie that.
Can I just say that I love this dude dancing while he talks? The whole like he's doing that whole storytelling, like boom, 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 and another thing, boom, boom, boom. Like it's good
question
stuff.
To this day. It's called Sounds of Freedom, Cry of Freedom about
Sounds of Freedom. Yeah.
Human. I cried watching that movie. I kept walking.
Yeah, it was fiction.
I said, oh man.
Yeah, it was a total lie. Yeah, the girl and the boy that were supposedly in the characters of the show were, were not trafficked to South America. This woman served him up to this guy that she rented from in the United States, and he was an American. There was nothing about the kind of like, oh my God, in South America they're doing terrible things to children. It was all happening in fucking Anaheim or wherever the fuck.
I said, why don't nobody promote this movie from Hollywood?
Because it's a lie. And it's basically anti-South American propaganda, and it's based on a true story, except where the children were, where they came from, and who victimized them, which is kind of an important detail. So fuck that.
Why don't our government promote this movie?
Because governments don't promote movies in general. I mean, obviously Close Encounters, but they paid for it.
Why do our government spend so much business in Ukraine, and why don't we got some real laws for sexual exploitation and sexual abuse? Because they in on it too. So at the end of that movie, it says that child sex trafficking has surpassed drugs and guns in the world. You don't need to reply. You don't need to re-up with a kid. You catch him at 5, it's a sex slave till it die, unless somebody free it. So you asked me a question.
I'd like to point out, as silly as Peanut Butter Dickhead's entire show is these days, I would like to say that that's why I think there's some hope in this story. That this is when their heart is now outrunning their ability to bullshit themselves. For the first time ever, they are able to like bullshit themselves only to up to a certain point. And right now, that line, it's being asked of them that they cross that line, and they can't do it.
Earlier, how do the kids survive that with no hope? Agony. It's the resiliency of a child that adults lose throughout life. So, so I think our government, all that, everybody full of shit. I wear a hat that says I think everybody's playing. We really ignore the conditions of our children in America. We have some of the most drug-addicted children ever in the history of human existence today.
No. I appreciate what you're going for, and we should do something about, obviously childhood drug use is a problem and should be dealt with, but no, not even, no.
More of our children go to...
If don't believe me, go look at the use of cat in the Middle East. Go look at like the opium trade in the Middle East and in Asia. Like, no, just come on.
Bed hungry or living abuse, neglect, and is exposed to more violence than any other group of children outside of these third world countries.
Nope.
But there's not a lot of resources. There's not a lot of things put into development. More.
Yeah, but understand who you're talking to. Like, this guy thinks there shouldn't be anything. Honestly, he's against the child tax credit. He's against, like postnatal care for poor women. It's absurd.
Things are being taken from the kids and given to the gays and the politicians. And
okay, right when the dude is like, oh, okay, he's making a couple of points. It's been taken and given to the gays and the politicians. Goodbye. Oh my Lord. They can't not just step on it. Anyways, so that's where this guy comes in as well. Here's Rusty Trombone doing the nose check. So if you'll recall, when Epstein died, this picture made a lot of its way around the internet. And this is the corpse, and this is Jeffrey Epstein. And this is the corpse, and this is Jeffrey Epstein. And this line here, and this is what Vinny was talking about with the hook nose thing the other day, is that the nose on the corpse seems rounded, more so than Epstein's nose, which he had fixed, is the theory. So they think he swapped out a dead guy for himself, and that's how he wasn't even in jail, that he left and they hung some other dude, or that dude killed himself rather than have his family killed, or they got $1 billion or whatever the shit.
Oh my God.
No way.
Oh, I didn't expect that.
Oh,
that's
man.
good stuff. Someone's hacked the Elmo account.
Hey, release the files, Donald.
Oh my God.
It's a little rough to read when you're still on his side, isn't it, Rusty?
That's what I like about the internet. That's the kind of radicalism that I enjoy. That's the way to make an impactful post. 2 hours after Jeffrey Epstein's body was found,
I don't know what the fuck the edits are in this one. Just choppy as shit. Are they just trying to slash together anything just to make it... Is this what it takes to squeeze like some entertainment out of like however long his fucking broadcasts
message was
are?
posted on 8chan from inside the Met Correctional Centre. Not saying anything after this. Please do not try to dox me. But last night, after the 4:15 count, they took him, Epstein, to medical in a wheelchair, front cuffed, but not one triage nurse said they spoke to him. Next thing we know, Trip Van shows up. We do not do releases on the weekends unless a judge orders it. Next thing we know, he's put in a single-man cell and hangs himself. Here's the thing. The Trip Van did not sign in, and we did not record the plate number, and a guy in a green dress military outfit was in the back of the van, according to the tower guy who let him through the gate. You guys, I'm shaking right now, but I think they switched him out. Now, this could be, of course, fraudulent. There's like some comparisons of their face.
Yeah, and so this is him going through all the shit about the faked death stuff that went out around the time that he died.
I thought that was quite interesting. I thought that was pretty interesting. I know that that's sort of pretty inconclusive. And also, someone suggested, like, well, just to check the legitimacy of that post, look at the IP address? That would identify. Has someone done that? I wonder. It's interesting, isn't it? In a world where someone can hack their way into Elmo's account and post that, it's very difficult to control the narrative. And so I suppose in the end, authenticity.
Sorry, is that the goal? Controlling the narrative? Or is he saying Trump is going to have a hard time controlling the narrative when the truth just keeps seeping out?
And truth are going to be the only solution. Here's Dave Smith. The cover-up of Jeffrey Epstein is worse than the cover-up of Biden's dementia. It's an interesting take.
Is it interesting take? Let me guess, he's going to distract into the
Biden's
stuff?
White House doctor, Kevin O'Connor, pleads the fifth to all questions at his deposition.
No, I think he pled physician-client, physician-patient confidentiality and the fifth.
About his
to everything.
The advice of counsel, I must respectfully decline to answer based on the physician-patient privilege and reliance on my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. I am not a lawyer, and I must follow my lawyer's advice in this matter.
So, gentlemen, we intend to assert both privileges with regard to any questions that would be asked at...
Yeah, where are all the HIPAA folks from COVID all of a sudden? All the right-wing HIPAA people, right?
At this deposition. And Dr. O'Connor will not answer any questions.
That's interesting, man. That's interesting. But
it's also interesting that you think post-presidency would have to answer anything at all. I mean, if you see anything that he did while he was in office, something that he, actively did that, he put the wrong date on the wrong form when he was signing it and retroactively cost the country $1 billion or some shit like that, make that case. But you don't have any of that. You just don't like what he did.
I mean, this is one of those ones where the news cycle moves so quickly that...
Yeah, whose fault is that?
I can't... I was dealing with that when it was happening. This is... There must be some sort of trickle-down effect of news and information, mustn't there? Even prior to the debate that ultimately led to his replacement, people were talking the whole time about Biden's mental decay.
Yeah, you guys were.
All the time. That's all...
Yeah, the rest of us were fine.
That was happening in these kind of spaces. This guy can't be president. Look at him. He's just walked off into a bush. Where's he going now? What's he saying? What's that? I think he just pooed himself. That was what was happening.
Yeah, he didn't poo himself and he didn't walk off into a bush. Meanwhile, there were stories of Trump actually shitting himself from people around him and you ignored them.
All the time. So, now, still talking about it, it seems exhausting. And I think that contributes to the lack of accountability. And
how can he be held accountable? He's not president anymore. He's not making any decisions while he's allegedly demented. Trump is. Trump's brain is potato salad right now. He just said his uncle taught the Unabomber and that they had a conversation about it, which he didn't on both counts.
Again, to my point, it's the systems themselves that are changing.
Yeah, I think you have to settle it that it is what you think it is, that there is corruption. Yeah. They're not telling us the truth. And so now what do we do about it?
I'll tell you what you're going to do about it. You're going to continue to gargle Trump's balls. Honestly, that's all you're going to do. Only you're going to do it under the guise of newfound Christianity.
Yeah. Because we can just keep talking about it over and over again.
Yeah, man, that's what's happening to us. I mean, that's why I think that I want to pivot to talking about the eternal and the eternal values and the solution. The challenge is these spaces, it seems, demand that we continually talk about the fast news cycle.
Sorry, you hitched your wagon to Trump and it is going far too fast for you to unhook it. Also, you ever notice Glenn Beck did this shit too? That whenever the heat gets too hot and there's a fire in the fucking kitchen, these guys are like, you know what? News cycle, I can't deal with these stories, right? This is too much. It's not that important. Are we really talking about the important things in life? I need to talk about my relationship with our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. It is the cheapest, laziest fucking out. Motherfucker, you chose this as your job. Get at it and stop bitching about it.
that you will surely have by now observed is cyclical and repetitive, even now.
Repetitive.
It's different.
There's a lot of other consonants in that word, just saying.
Dynamics have shifted somewhat because up until now, it was, all the way back.
What the fuck are you doing with, like, prayer beads? Like, Buddhist prayer beads? I thought you were a Christian.
To Bush, like we'd had Obama, and it just feels like it was Democrats for a long, long time, doesn't it? It just seems like it was for a long, long time Democrats. And what I was going through then is, hold on, these are meant to be the goodies. These are meant to be the goodies. Why are they, every decision they're making, biased towards institutional power, global corporatism? This was before...
What, you mean like the ACA?
Wokeism really kicked in, and they started to sort of shift the cultural values and make claims of moral credibility that were always dubious and based on expedience, i.e. they don't really care about the vulnerable ethnic group.
Which is exactly what a Christian would say about someone else, that they would immediately look at the behavior of these people, like passing an infrastructure bill that removes all the lead pipes in the country so that generations will not be affected by brain injury caused by, a proliferation of lead in the water system that is largely hurting poor people. That's what you would do, is those people finally get around to doing that. Actually fucking doing something about it, and you would go, I don't trust their motives. Meanwhile, Donald Trump, you got to give it to him. He's a lot of fun, isn't he? I mean, sure, he's a rapist, and he brags about it, and he talks about the floor of women he'd have sex is 12. He's a Christian Freemason? Rusty's not a Freemason. As a Freemason, I'm telling you, Rusty is not a Freemason.
Groups, in the same way they don't care about the vulnerable during a pandemic. They just use the vulnerable to legitimize authority. That's what was going on. Anyway, that's when I was undertaking a different set of allegiances, shall we say. I was anti-establishment then, I'm anti-establishment now.
What the fuck do you mean? I hear this a lot. Anti-establishment. What do you mean? The established system of government that we have that's democratic? I mean, I understand being anti-establishment if the establishment is a monarchy. You live in England. It's a monarchy. Do something about it or shut the fuck up. We fought a war over it, and as messy as it is, we don't have an establishment. We get to change our leaders. And anybody who says we don't and it's always the same is somebody who voted for Trump twice.
Now, that's basically...
And Bush.
So I don't feel like really I've changed at all. In some senses, I've just migrated to another country and to recognising that you're probably better off if one political leader and one political party is in general deriving its moral positions from something like, in this instance, literally Christianity. But when we're at...
Like who, you dumb motherfucker? Biden was a Catholic. He went to fucking church every Sunday. He was an active Catholic. Trump... The last time he held a Bible, he held it upside fucking down. And I'm not even sure it was a real Bible. It was probably a hymnal. We have no way of knowing. We just know it was upside down.
I went at Turning Point, as I mentioned, and the main point I wanted to talk about was, well, look, these are political parties. Unless something radical happens, like we're not going to accept donations no more and lobbying is banned, then you're going to get radical change immediately. So if there was going to be a third party or a radical shifting of either of the main parties in your country or mine, that's the kind of shift that would make a difference. And if you don't get that, there's a reason for it. It's because they want...
Oh, I see. I'm sorry. I got caught up in the fact that you were talking about the two-party system and whether the third party would be able to, have any, responsibility and, gathering these things together, all the difficulties, right? I thought, getting mucked up about it, right? Getting all mucked up about it, right? I got caught up in that and I forgot that you were just covering for the fact that fucking Trump is in the Epstein files and you backed him and you're still backing him. Stop with the bullshit faux Christianity when you are supporting Jeffrey Epstein's wingman. Fucknut.
That conduit of power to remain in place. And that's not as sexy or as intriguing as the Epstein files, but it reveals.
Sexy and intriguing are not words I would use when talking about the Epstein files. Only somebody who has 4 rape cases in 2 different countries would use the word sexy and intriguing when discussing the Jeffrey Epstein files.
A similar thing. It reveals a similar thing. That's what I think, though. Let me know what you guys think.
No. So this is the other thing. This is like comment farming is now the nature of that show. Now, you're supposed to move on. I'm running out of time on today's show, and you guys are wonderful. And oh my God, I think the big thing we have to deal with is the fact that that Trump's floor of the youngest girl he would have sex with is apparently 12, or he wouldn't want to hang out with them. It didn't say he wouldn't have actual sex with them. He just said he wouldn't. But obviously 13 and up is fine by Trump, according to that thing we saw today. And that everybody should just let it go. That's Bill O'Reilly, Mark Levin, all that. Well, according to Pat Gray, core MAGA refuses to drop the Epstein files, challenges Trump's silence.
The president was asked about guess who?
He loves it. He loves this stuff.
Asked about Jeffrey Epstein again.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Yes.
Mr. President, I know you've urged people to move on, but I'm curious, why do you think your supporters in particular have been so interested in the Epstein story and so upset about how it's been handled? Why do you think that is?
Oh, yeah, this is the one where Lutnick laughs when Trump says only bad people care about it.
They would be so interested. He's dead for a long time.
President Trump, you know.
He was never a big factor in terms of
Thank you, Miss Allie and company.
life.
Also big in terms of life. What the fuck? Potato salad brain.
Don't understand what the interest or what the fascination is.
What?
I really don't. And the credible information's been given.
Gosh.
Don't forget, we went through years of the Mueller witch hunt and all of the different things.
Yeah,
the
we
Steele
know all that.
dossier, which was all fake. All that information was fake. But I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff. It's sordid, but it's boring.
Wow.
And I don't understand why it keeps going. I think really only pretty bad people, including fake news, want to keep something like that going.
Real quick, Howard Nutlick was literally Jeffrey Epstein's next door neighbor. Next door, not across the street, not same neighborhood, not he saw him at the coffee shop every so often because it was just down the street, or they walked their dog on the same route and shit on the same piece of sidewalk and peed on the same fucking hydrant. No. Next door fucking neighbors.
But credible information.
So we're pretty bad people.
Let them give it. Anything that's credible.
Yes, by the way, Pat, even though I disagree about the whole Epstein thing, you are bad people, and you're gross.
I would say let them have it.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, it is hard to work out, isn't it? Yeah, it's hard to unbind your brain with that rope you've tied around it. You know, you've been choking off oxygen to sections of your brain this entire time, just trying not to think about these things. And now that you're being asked to forget about it, it's like it's making blood flood back into that part of your brain.
Okay.
That's
okay.
Tone deaf as he's ever been.
Sure is.
No, it isn't. No, you just didn't give a fuck about the women he sexually assaulted, and when he was, saying they weren't attractive enough to fuck, basically, much less rape, and so you didn't care about that. He's been tone deaf before. You just didn't give a shit. He was tone deaf when he was saying, "There's my African American," right? You didn't care about those areas where he was tone deaf. It's just now that it's MAGA, now you care. And I got news for you. This is worse. This is way deeper. His contempt for MAGA, wanting to look at the Epstein stuff, is now worse than his hatred for women. Oh, then it said, Marisol, happy birthday.
Wow. That's disappointing.
Wow. Mm-hmm. No, it isn't. No. It fills me with joy that you guys are fucking miserable.
Okay, so everybody should forget about justice for all of these girls.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. That is the way to hit the nail on the head, Pat. That's what he wants. Fuck these girls and tough. and they're never going to see, their cases are never going to see the light of day. They're never going to get justice around, Epstein, and he's probably going to pardon or commute Ghislaine's sentence. So eat shit, I guess.
Who were abused over the years by elitists, by people who have prominent.
Hey, real quick. You do realize that Trump considers himself an elitist, that he is of the elite, and he believes that there's basically like the elite, and then there's white trash, and then there's everybody else.
Positions in our society. We're just supposed to drop it and let's move.
Yep. Yeah. Sorry. Drop it, dipshit.
Move on. That's no big deal. Why would we even be interested in that? Protecting children? What are you, stupid?
Oh, it was a made-up story.
Oh, man. We know that there are people like Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew.
Nope, sorry. No, according to Pam Bondi, there's nobody else that can be tried, and there was no blackmail. There were no other untried co-defendants, and there's not going to be any, dude. Sorry. Even Bill Clinton and Prince Andrew or Bill Gates or anybody else you want it to be, sorry. Nope. That ship has sailed. Pam Bondi is running more interference in your mind for those guys than for Trump. How must that feel? That she's literally she's comfortable sacrificing half or all of MAGA to protect Bill Clinton and Bill Gates and Prince Andrew. Because obviously.
Bill Gates, there are serious elites involved in this, and you can't.
Nope. No, they're not. Sorry. They're in his black book, but they didn't do anything. She looked through all the stuff. I don't know what you're bitching about. This is Pam Bondi. He handpicked her after, of course, Matt Gaetz, who I'm fairly certain would have made quick work of this shit as well, considering his history.
And they've paid consequences for their involvement already. Not legally, but they've paid consequences for their involvement.
Not enough.
No, clear.
They have.
I don't know what consequences they paid. What? Their reputation's a bit tarnished?
Absolutely.
Yes. The old tarnished reputation. I'm sure all the young girls who were sexually assaulted when they were 13 years old are like, well, at least their reputations have been tarnished. Jesus Christ.
There's been no justice for these girls.
The king has got Andrew living in a trailer park. He doesn't even some dump house. And Gates had to leave the wife and has been shamed with that. But Bill Clinton is still stuck with Hillary. So
England playing dress up though that's a small consequence because you're not going to be able to cosplay with the rest of us. Okay, we're going to send you over there.
A lot of money for
a lot of money. It's
Yeah, I don't feel like that's gonna do it.
Agonizing.
And also, Trump is still president. You left that off the fucking list.
I don't understand how he's so out of touch with this.
Wait. Oh, okay. Sorry, my mistake. You think you don't understand how he's so out of touch. He's not. He's not, Pat. You'll be happy to know Donald Trump is not out of touch with this. He has to lie about it. He has to hide it. He has to bury it because as much as you might hate him for hiding all this shit and these girls never getting any justice and all these other motherfuckers going free, if you knew the truth about Donald Trump, it's fucking worse. That's why. He's not out of touch. He's very much in touch. He's taking it very personally.
It's
wow.
He's more out of touch with this than he is on concerns about his Operation Warp Speed result.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It's pronounced Operation Fartsteed.
Captain's log.
There you go.
COVID vaccine.
Well, at least he gets there's a problem there, and so he ignores it.
Right.
I mean, he's.
That's amazing. That's if anything sums up fucking Pat Gray's attitude towards the president. Listen to this. Listen to that again, real quick.
Well, at least he gets there's a problem there, and so he ignores it.
Right.
What? What? That's fucking amazing. At least he gets there's a problem there, so he ignores it. That's your fucking leader? What the hell?
I mean, he's head on telling us you're a moron for even caring about this. You're bad people if you
yeah, and I understand how you would take that personally.
Care about this. Stop.
Yes, just like Operation Fart Steed.
Captain's log. Stop talking about it. That's all he wants us to do is stop talking about it. Wow,
and that's fueling. That's fueling the.
Yeah.
Yes,
the,
it is.
Oh, he's on the list. He's on the list. He's on the list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that and the fact that he's on the list.
That's what that's doing.
And it's not.
Not to me. It feels that he's been told from above.
Well, you have to believe that because the only other option is you have to believe he's on the list. And your head is that far up his ass that's what you have to believe. By the way, these guys are look at the comfort hugs these motherfuckers are giving each other right now. Look at that. That's find a happy place. Find a happy place. Look at that. Papa, tell me it's not true about you and the bad Epstein man. Tell me it can't be true that that's where you spend your weekends, Papa. Shit.
Where I'm at.
Oh, really? Like big
100%.
state?
Yeah.
Like who? The Bilderbergers? The Whataburgers?
Those people.
The Whataburgers.
The Bilderbergers, the Whataburgers.
The Whataburgers.
I think it's probably
the bacon
everyone at this
cheeseburgers.
point. I think everybody had a hand in Jeffrey Epstein. I think he was working for a lot of different outfits. So
Sorry. No. You don't get that out because you said Trump was there to save the kids and he was free of all this and couldn't be controlled.
I think you're right, Jeffy. But we got to talk about the prison video still, too.
Oh, shit. I thought this was going to kind of like, they were going to divert to something else. It's going to get worse now. Look at Pat. He does not want to talk about this.
Because
it
was bullshit?
Editing in Adobe.
So we talked about yesterday that Adobe Premiere was used to edit it.
Right.
And
So fairly certain everybody at the Blase, or as Tara Dublin calls the Be Lazy, I'm fairly certain they all have Bongholio's cell phone number. Maybe ask him.
Edit what?
The video.
The video.
Okay.
What video are we talking about?
The prison video. Prison video.
Okay.
That's right.
He has no idea what the fuck is going on. That's his job now.
You had to go down the hall yesterday. We talked about this in overtime, right? Or did we do it?
I don't know.
Was it during the regular show?
I was in the cone of silence where we all go when we are hiding from news stories about Donald Trump that we don't want to hear.
I don't even know anymore. But
yes, there's been editing of the video.
Correct.
Where
the metadata has given that away.
First of all, there was no video.
No video.
Right?
Correct.
Well, nobody could ever
the
tell
cameras
because
were broken.
They were broken. All of them.
All of them.
They all broke at the same time.
Yes.
No, in 2023, when the information came out, they were all the cameras except for this one that they showed did not record. This is the only one that recorded. The rest of them were on and could be watched by the guards, but those guys fell asleep or were fucking on the internet buying shit on eBay or whatever the hell they were doing and maybe not paying attention. But there was only one camera that recorded, and that's the one that they have, and that's the one that they edited. So, no, they weren't all on the fritz. They were all visual. They were there, but they didn't record. It's important. It's germane to the conversation. So the guys, like the guards weren't looking at like a bunch of fucking, static screens in one shot of the fucking cell block from up in the corner. They were looking at all the cameras on their thing.
Darn the luck.
Just the area we needed. The rest of them were.
Yeah. Nope. Only one worked. It was the opposite, you dumb son of a bitch. There were like 8 or 10 cameras, and only one of them recorded.
Yes,
Pat, it just so happened, coincidentally.
Don't get me wrong, though. I don't mind that these assholes are tying themselves in knots because this might be what it takes for them to wake up to the fact that they have, been swallowing Trump's load about this bullshit for years. whatever. But
they broke in that particular area.
I didn't see it because I was shopping online.
That's right. There was
shopping
well,
online.
You got to do the
If I wasn't shopping, I would have seen that they were down.
It was Amazon days.
Yeah.
Prime days.
What-
Yeah.
You're going to take advantage of that 15% off,
Thank you.
right? I don't
Thank
care
you.
who's in the jail.
we are joking about a lot of things, especially a child rapist maybe escaping jail. Ha ha ha! And we are enjoying ourselves.
So
if you recall the day that we played that video, we definitely pointed out the minute that was missing from 11:59. But I also mentioned at the time that somebody had pointed out that there was several minutes missing because the length of the video didn't match up with the first timestamp and the end timestamp. Well, now Wired Magazine has delved in further, and here's a quote from them on the Epstein prison video.
This is the moment that they all become happy.
Quote, further analysis.
Thanks, Doc. I'm being facetious.
It shows that one of the source clips was approximately 2 minutes and 53 seconds longer than the segment included in the final video, indicating
edit together. Okay.
that footage appears to have been trimmed before release. The file was actually edited and saved several times over a period of more than 3.5 hours on May 23rd.
Now these motherfuckers give a shit about metadata. What I've been saying about the fucking like the Hunter Biden stuff all this time, none of these assholes give a shit about metadata till right now. Maybe retroactively we can go, hey, how about this? Why don't you go back and check the metadata on all the shit on the hard drive that Rudy Giuliani was passing around?
2025. So, fast forward.
Yes, you guys can join the... Thank you, Andrea. You guys can join the public Discord, by the way.
6 days from when they edited this video, and it kind of puts this Dan Bongino clip from May 29th on Fox and Friends in a different perspective.
We are working through there is video. That is something the public does
There's video of him killing himself.
No, not the actual act,
Blink,
but
blink.
the entire...
He's, by the way, the actual act, he shows 4 whites. Now, let me explain to you again, if you don't know. My having some family that's in law enforcement, especially FBI and marshals, you hear some of the lingo. You enjoy the lingo around the law enforcement. But watch how when somebody is afraid and they're aware they're caught lying, they'll give you 4 whites, which literally means you can see whites on all directions around their pupils, around their irises. So you can see white above, below, and to the left and right. You're seeing the 4 whites in their eyes, okay? Completely. That's why they call it. Okay. So watch when he says the actual act, and he shows 4 whites.
No, not the actual act, but the entire MCC Bay. It was only one camera. There's video that when you look at the video.
The other thing too is that him looking down, like, honest to God, I have to say, if you're not desperate and you're not aware that you're full of shit, unless you're being cartoonish and over the top like I am when I tell a story sometimes, where I look all about because I'm acting out what I'm showing and seeing in the story, right? If you can't make eye contact with the hosts as you're talking, going, look, we have video. It's not the actual act, but it is the entire hours, and we're going to give you the unedited version of this. It's not that hard to make that. But if you know you're bullshitting, I don't know what to tell you. He was here like 2 hours ago, and then he fucked off. Like, I don't know. Do you guys have a warrant? Or like, that's what he reeks of it. Like, if he was being interviewed by other actual FBI agents, they'd be going, this motherfucker's lying. And he's doing the Illuminati vagina hand signal, which apparently Alex Jones has warned us about.
And we will release. That's what's taken a while on this. We are working on cleaning it up to make sure you have an enhanced.
Working on cleaning it up. I got to tell you, it's one of my favorite phrases in this whole thing.
And we're going to give the original so you don't think there were any shenanigans. You're going to see there's no one there but him.
Okay. Well,
all right.
We got
look at that. He's right. There's no one there. In fact, I don't even see him. There's literally no one there. So
we got the original
Why don't you
edited together
shut
from
up?
multiple sources on 4 different spots.
I should just shut up about it.
Okay, so that, by the way, if I may, if you listen to Bongholio, he seems to be, at least in the first time that he talks about this, because he's, I guess, what's the phrase? Fucking stupid. That is Epstein's door. This green door right here. Spoiler alert, it's not. And what happened outside my window? Something's going on. This is a way in and out for staff. They come in and change the garbage in this one area, and apparently you can't get up here. I don't know if there's a chair blocking that stairwell or what the fuck's going on. But right there is the outer edge of the stairway. If you just hug the rail on the other side, you'd never see anybody going up those steps. Period. End of story. It's so dumb. So
together.
All right. Now, one more. Yeah. So they're still on this. Trump versus MAGA. Clash over Epstein files divides conservative base. They're on this.
Allowed to anymore.
I guess not.
He made it very clear in his post.
Sure did.
Don't even.
And he made other things clear as well. He had this to say.
Intrigue over the Epstein files, but I do want to ask you to clarify something you said this morning. You said this was all a hoax. Has your attorney general told you this was a hoax? What evidence have you seen?
No, it's not the attorney general. No, I know it's a hoax. It's started by Democrats. It's been run by the Democrats for 4 years. You had Christopher Wray and these characters and Comey before him. And it's a bad group. It started, actually, look at the Steele dossier that turned out to be a total hoax. The 51 agents, the intelligence, so-called intelligence agents, it was a hoax. It's all been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats. And some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net. And so they try and...
Yeah, Pat, he means you.
Do the Democrats' work. The Democrats are good for nothing other than these hoaxes. They're bad for policy. They're bad for picking candidates that can get elected. Like in New York, we have a communist running. He may get elected too, actually, but he'll destroy the city. I call it the Epstein hoax. It takes a lot of time and effort. Instead of talking about the great achievements we've had, a great gentleman yesterday, as you know, went on CNBC and he made the statement that Trump may go down as the greatest president of all in the United States. And instead of talking about the things we've achieved, we've had tremendous achievement. They're wasting their time with a guy who obviously had some very serious problems.
A guy who had some very serious problems. Real quick, did his victims have any problems? I gotta tell you, I think the victims had more problems than the guy
who died 3 or 4 years ago.
3 or 4 years ago? You'll have to, I don't know, who was president then? Who was running the DOJ at the time that he died? Was it the guy whose father gave him his job at a girls' school, or the guy who used to hang with him for fucking 25 years?
I'd rather talk about the success we have with the economy.
See, this is them. You know how we had this problem with them talking over videos when they play them, and I try not to do that. I mean, like when it's just an ongoing thing and I'm just saluting what they're saying because I'm being silly, it's one thing. But these guys can't help, and so they yell over shit. They do it all the time with Democrats. Now they're doing it with him.
The best we've ever had, and all of the things we've done, including the Middle East. I mean, you see it. Instead, they want to talk about the Epstein hoax. And the sad part is it's people that are really doing the Democrats' work. They're stupid people. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, Pat. It's time to just deal with the reality that you're stupid, and Trump knows you're stupid. And have a good week.
Okay. First of all,
you are stupid.
Not a scam.
Sorry. Okay. Go ahead.
It's not a hoax, and
okay.
It isn't being perpetrated by Democrats. This actually has nothing to do with partisan politics. Nothing. Second,
excuse me, in this era, everything is partisan politics. You're either on the team or you're doomed.
Mr. President, you should be careful about whose support you don't care about anymore.
Ooh. And I thought Marjorie Taylor Greene was the only one issuing threats.
These are people who have stood by you and defended you during everything.
Yeah, and by, obviously by association, defended Jeffrey Epstein at every turn and protected Jeffrey Epstein. Pat woke up every day for the last, 8 years trying to, while he was getting Trump elected, also passively and with full awareness defending Jeffrey Epstein, who he knew was your buddy.
That the left has thrown at you. And these are...
Sorry, we threw his relationship with Russia at him. We threw his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein at him. We threw the fucking fact that he talked about he and his daughter Ivanka had sex in common at him. That the women he sexually assaulted and bragged about it, we threw that at him.
The people who...
No, we didn't throw it. It was right there, and you threw yourself in front of it.
Elected you twice.
Yeah, and so it is your fault that none of these girls will get justice. You are to blame, Pat.
Wow. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this.
No.
Well, welcome to our world.
Pretty amazing.
No, he'd be in jail if it wasn't for his supporters.
Yep.
He'd be in jail if it wasn't for his supporters. So you admit he deserves to be in jail and that you stopped it, or the pressure you guys put on stopped justice from being done. Congrats. That's great. And anyway, so sorry, why are you bitching about the Epstein shit then?
So
you voted for a pussy grabber. Is it just because the women were adults? You think they deserved it, you fucking creep?
Oh, you really shouldn't be attacking the people who are your most loyal and passionate supporters.
Yeah, except his idea of loyalty means that you, when it comes to child fucking, you still support him.
Mr. President, I don't think you fully understand this situation.
Which is really weird.
Well, unless you think about the fact that he's all over the files.
Because believe me, I honestly, I thought he was smarter than this.
As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly.
But please pay attention to what we're saying.
He is. That's why he's taking the time to call you stupid.
This involves the sexual abuse of children by powerful people.
Yep.
It's
friends of his.
It's not something that was just concocted out of thin air by Democrats.
Right.
And beyond that, we were promised by every single person in this administration, including Donald Trump, that these files would be released and that justice would be done.
Well, he did hedge in that edited Fox interview.
People were going to be held accountable. Now we feel like we've been betrayed by the very people we put into office.
Oh, you mean Jeffrey Epstein's wingman, the guy you voted for twice? You're shocked that he wouldn't finally release the Epstein files? Weird. Never really. Okay.
And so this isn't going away until somebody tells the truth about what's happened here and what is currently happening here.
Well, there you go. I gotta say, there's something fun about that, if I may, ladies and gentlemen. This is indicative of the circumstance we find ourselves in. Now, before I go, let's see if I can do this at the top of this. Is the top of this? Yeah. Let me show you something. Forbes Breaking News is a website, is a YouTube channel that posts a lot of shit, mostly like clips of Democrats and Republicans on the floor, or being interviewed in hallways or whatever, or Donald Trump himself being interviewed on the tarmac or wherever. But it's not clips of media, it's the actual lawmakers themselves. And one of the big stories that Trump has been pushing is that the Democrats created this, and they're not interested in it coming out or whatever. I don't know why they would create it and not want it out, but whatever. Let me show you something, though. And this is Forbes. Again, this is Forbes Breaking News, who is usually on Team Trump. Democratic calls for Trump and Bondi to release the Jeffrey Epstein files intensify. Supercut. Democrats demand answers from Trump, Bondi over Jeffrey Epstein files. And I think they meant to put the slash between Trump and Bondi instead of a comma or whatever. Look how long this supercut is. This is a supercut of different. This is here's Hakeem Jeffries. There's Ted Lieu. Here's there's Jamie Raskin. There's this is in panel. There's Dan Goldman. There's this. They asked for a vote in here. There's a bunch of there's Durbin. There's Wyden. It's Hochul. They've chopped this together. There's Ro Khanna. There's a myriad of all these stuff, and it's like, and plus there's some TikToks and other shit at the end. 2 hours of Democrats ask, like, hypercut. This is like Forbes Breaking News usually only does like 5-minute videos, right? CSL, like most of their stuff is fairly short. I don't know that I've ever seen a long form on there. Certainly not this long. 2 fucking hours. Now, they may be doing this for nefarious purposes, because ultimately this is just one video on their channel. And it doesn't say supercut in the title down here. It says it on the screen, but it doesn't say it here. So you won't know that it's got all these different people. And they could just put them all in one video instead of, if they did all of these as separate videos, people who went to their channel would go, oh my fucking God, here's Hakeem Jeffries doing it, here's Jamie Raskin doing it, here's Dan Goldman doing it, here's Ted Lieu doing it, here's, right? So yes, Forbes is on the right side of this stuff. So they can, if they put it all in one video, if you're scrolling through their channel, you might go, oh, one video and it's 2 hours. I might not watch it. But they feel like they have to post it. Now, there is also, like, here's Durbin on
Mr. Chairman, the Trump administration's handling of the Jeffrey.
Brutal. Durbin reads off Bondi's many statements claiming there are Epstein files, demands a release. And this is the change. And again, this is how we know they're not going to be able to put this away. That even the Forbes Breaking News, which is always posting shit, suddenly is putting up videos that are titled like a Midas Touch video.
The Epstein case is baffling.
I got to tell you, the footage of this right here just looks straight up like Warren Commission, like old school 70s shit. Like, this is like, this looks like something out of Dr. Strangelove.
It's frustrating the American people, and it's exacerbating the mistrust in the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Which they were supposed to, solve that problem. They were supposed to bring back trust and accountability. Because there wasn't any until Trump had control of the place and could use it to go after his enemies.
February, Attorney General Bondi, 17 days into the job, said in a Fox News interview that the Epstein client list was, quote, sitting on my desk right now to review, end of quote.
Mm-hmm.
The White House then staged a major media release of Epstein-related files on February 27th, including preparing binders for conservative influencers and commentators.
By the way, and invited them, I want to say this, invited them to the White House to get them. They were in the Oval Office when they received these binders. They weren't taken to the DOJ. This was not a Pam Bondi stunt. This was a Donald Trump stunt.
However,
so blaming her is bullshit. This happened in his fucking office.
The files released were largely already publicly available.
They were all publicly available. There was nothing new in them at all. Zero. Zilch.
Nothing new.
No. As a matter of fact, I would argue there was less because they were worse copies than were available on the internet already.
After intense blowback, Attorney General Bondi went back to Fox News, the mothership, and claimed that a whistleblower, quote, assured her there were more files, and that, quote, New York, Southern District of New York, was sitting on thousands of pages of documents. And she promised on Fox, and I quote, "We will get everything, and the country will see," quote, "the full Epstein files." These are quotes from Attorney General Bondi voluntarily appearing on Fox News to explain the situation. For the next 4 months, the Department of Justice and the FBI were silent. What happened during that period? Well,
they were bullshitting everyone. Also, can I put on this on top of it as well? Hold on.
Senator from Oregon.
Where is it? Hold on. So this is Ron Wyden from Oregon, Tara Dublin's senator, who went looking through Epstein's Treasury records because he's the senior Democrat on the Finance Committee.
President Donald Trump has made some far-fetched statements over the last few months, but a stunner in the last few days was his claim that the Jeffrey Epstein matter was a hoax and a scam. Here is why the president is wrong. The figure at the center of this story was an ultra-rich, well-connected sex trafficker. He was a serial rapist of women and young girls. And for some reason, the Trump administration, that claimed they'd be the most transparent administration ever, turned on a dime. The president had run on a campaign with a promise to expose the Epstein files. Now he and the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, say, nope, nothing to investigate. When it comes to Epstein and sex trafficking, all these claims are just ludicrous. I want the American people to know that that's wrong. If you want to know why, just look at the latest report from our investigators that was discussed in the New York Times this morning. Now, somewhere in the Treasury Department, Mr. President, locked away in a cabinet drawer, is a big Epstein file that's full of actionable information. Follow the money details about his financing and operations that await investigation. Last year, the Biden administration allowed our investigators to look at portions of the file. We did that at the Treasury building. Here is what it says. Treasury's Epstein file details, Mr. President, 4,725 wire transfers. Let me repeat that.
By the way, I would like to point out that I saw that number once, and I got it right all morning when I was studying over the weekend. I just glanced at the 4,725. Nailed it. I'm just saying. Totally got the dismount.
4,725 wire transfers, adding up to nearly $1.1 billion flowing in and out of just one of Mr. Epstein's bank accounts. If you ask me, that is more than 4,000 potential lines of investigation right there. Hundreds of millions more flowed through other accounts. That's even a lot more to investigate. The file shows that Mr. Epstein used multiple Russian banks, which are now under sanctions, to process payments related to sex trafficking. A lot of the women and girls he targeted came from Russia, Belarus, Turkey, and elsewhere. One shudders to think about the kinds of people who must have been involved in trafficking these women and young girls out of those companies and into the Epstein web of abuse.
Who just pointed that out? Sorry, 4725. Barbie points that out. 4725. You think that's that's foreshadowing that 47 is going to get 25 to life? A boy can dream, can he?
Again, these are all potential leads, Mr. President, the Department of Justice ought to be digging into. This is about years and years of international sex trafficking. None of this is a hoax. None of it is a scam. And I'd like to say I consider it insulting to the intelligence of the American people, to the Trump administration, to simply say there is nothing to investigate here. Now, when the Trump administration came in with a lot of fanfare about transparency and openness, I said, I'm going to follow up on that. So I wrote to the Attorney General, Ms. Bondi, Treasury Secretary Beth.
Except
that was just bullshit, Joel.
Just saying.
FBI Director Patel. And I asked them all to produce the Epstein file to the Senate Finance Committee so it could be reviewed. In fact, I've made that request multiple times. The Trump commitment to transparency based on the response didn't mean a whole lot because they just refused.
Yeah, and they're going to keep doing it, by the way. Great on Ron Wyden, great on Durbin. I'm going to show you one last thing that pisses me off before I go, and then I will see you guys tomorrow for House Sparks Mega Worldwide in the afternoon. So Thomas Massie is one of the guys that has been a... Let's see if I can bring this back to here. Hold on, Burnt. There we go. I'm going to back this up. I'm going to show you something in a second. Is this? Yeah, I think it's about here. There's a documentary by a website called Free the People on Thomas Massie, the guy who's the standout dude who was fighting against Trump and wanting him to turn over the Republican that Trump wants to turn on and all that kind of shit, and wants to primary, and is the one guy who is voting to make sure these things are unsealed and voted against the big beautiful bill and all that stuff, right? Okay. They're doing. You can tell they're building him up to maybe be somebody's running mate to run against the whole, Trump Vance crowd or something like that, right? Okay. They're doing a documentary about him. And it's about him living in Eastern Kentucky and man of the people, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm from Kentucky originally, too. And let me tell you, when you see his house, you're going to be struck by the fact that, boy, it sure doesn't look like the Appalachian Eastern Kentucky that we all think of. So they scroll around. I don't know if this music is cleared or whatever, but this is the countryside. This is where, this is Thomas Massie's house in Eastern Kentucky. Now, on the one hand, it's obviously a big McMansion compared to anything else in Eastern Kentucky, and it's obviously a rich guy's house. But it also has a very much that kind of like, if you were like, oh yeah, that's the upstate New York Epstein house, you wouldn't be shocked, right? Now it's it's way smaller. But here's what I want to show you. And again, I want you to remember, this is a Kentuckian who is against the Green New Scam. He's a right-winger, all that kind of shit. Now, this is the inside of his house. That's Thomas Massie being interviewed in this thing. I'm not going to give it. This is him talking about his, like how he grows plants and he puts his water. There it is. This is the backside of his house. Anybody notice anything about the house that would tend to show that he's not as anti-Green New Scam as he's selling? And how many people think that maybe, just maybe, this motherfucker took advantage of the solar panel tax breaks to put them on his house because they know it's good to have that and a battery backup way out in the South? This is Thomas Massie's house. This is the I guess the southern facing part of his house, right? Thomas Massie. This is the guy who voted against the big BS bill, who's a Republican who Trump wants, thrown out of office because he's not buying the Epstein storyline, but is definitely a right winger. This dude I don't agree with this dude on policy at all, I would guess. But I also think that he's more full of shit than he might lead people to believe. And he's using these solar tax credits to cover his house in solar panels because it makes very sense. This is the wokest fucking house you will ever see. Right. So he talks about how he's got water runoff. The whole point of this is he's got his garden right here so he can catch rainwater like he's fucking Bob Ross. And this is his fucking, like, he's got this multi-tiered thing that he set up so they can, you know, use water efficiently on the property as if he lives in a fucking desert, which is weird because it's very rainy and wet out there. There's a lot of water. It's odd, but whatever. But that's fine. Good for him. But it certainly is ecologically conscious. And you would think you would be able to reach him in the same way that you could, you know, I mean, again, I don't know what his fucking hang-up is. Like, he can afford it. He knows he can afford it. What if you gave a tax credit or support for more people to do this? You wouldn't waste water. You'd salvage the land. People could, you know, grow their own food. It would, you know, it's all this freedom shit that they all love to talk about. He picks tomatoes and feeds them to the chickens at one point, and then he grabs some of his own that he's going to use for breakfast. He's got a chicken coop outside there. They get their own eggs, which is fine. He's got like 9 cars. They feed tomatoes to the chickens, and the whole documentary is about how him basically living off the grid in this house. Well, how's he living off the grid? He's got, and by the way, he's got a fucking, nothing says Kentucky like a fucking stone pizza oven in your house. But that's the house. I gotta tell you, it looks like the governor's mansion in Kentucky compared to the rest of the houses around that area. And so this idea that he just knows what other people go through is just horseshit. But but there is an area of this where he might be reachable, because he's obviously aware that this is something he does in his own fucking house. So if you knew this about him, if like the fact that I watched the better part of this documentary, I didn't watch all of it. I skimmed through it because I don't need to hear fucking rambly bullshit that's basically a campaign ad. But having watched enough of this, that's how I know, and now you know, that Thomas Massie has his fucking house covered in solar panels and does as much water conservation as he possibly can. That grass is not blue. In the right light, it is. Pizza oven is a Kentucky thing? No. Castle privilege? Yeah, you may be right. But this is kind of crucial, so that when somebody was confronting him, like, hey, your house is covered in solar panels. What's the fucking problem? Why do you not want other people to have the tax break too, so they can do it? You obviously know what it's worth. You obviously know the value of it. Downtown fucking Abbey. You're absolutely right. But this is why I go and dig into these holes where you guys, so you guys don't have to, because it's crucial that people know, how full of shit a bunch of these people are. And when someone is confronting him about what he's voting on and what he's doing, like, hey, dude, your house is covered in solar panels. What's the fucking problem? Why wouldn't you want that service available to everybody, especially the working poor in your area that could shave off a chunk of their electric bill? Clip that part and put it out, please. I will. We'll put this little piece out as its own little thing. There's a lot of that kind of hypocrisy on the right. And if you knew how, like, how many of them recycle and all this stuff while basically calling everything, that's ecologically conservative gay and being lame about it, in their real lives, they actually do it. It's as phony as whatever they accuse other politicians. They'll tell you, Washington tells you one thing while they live another way, right? You hear that all the time. That's exactly what the fuck is going on with Thomas Massie. And Thomas Massie, of all people, who can obviously figure out the Epstein thing is a problem and that the big BS bill is going to blow a hole in the fucking debt and deficit, should at least be able to figure out that if the solar panel, the tax credits that he used to put solar panels on his house work, they could work for everybody. Anyways, I want to thank Matt the Rat for the Search Party Fund, thank you, and Stacy and Nicole and Helen for the Super Chats, and oh my God, Miss Allie and company for sending the gift memberships, and Eileen for the gift memberships. And Gene, thank you so much for the 20 gift memberships. That was really lovely of you. I appreciate you guys more and more every day, and I will see you guys tomorrow afternoon. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else, and keep laughing, people. Do not let these people take your fucking joy. Do not. Do I have a... Is there an end button on here? I feel like there is. Maybe around here somewhere. I don't know. Possible.